Hello. This is a Taph guy from a milestone for Taph. I will be showing you tips and tricks in placing tripwires and trip mines. Without further ado, let's get into the guy. For my first tip, use the fact trip mines can explode through walls. For example, here. The killer is running here. We can hide a trip mine there so it will explode without the killer even seeing it. If we place a trip mine here, then if a killer runs past that same area, then it will explode. And you can't even see it unless it does its jingle, or if you saw it outside. If I was a killer, I would be confused where that trip mine was. Do this for almost every time you place a trip mine. Here are some more spots in the cool carnival map. Here. For when the killer runs this way. Ignore this one. This spot is very good. For when the killer runs this way. You may ask, what if the killer M1 south it before it explodes? Then he would be rooting and optimally, and waste distance too, go behind the wall. This spot is also good. See how you can't see the trip mine? That's why it's a good spot. When placing a trip mine, think of these three things. Is the trip mine visible? Does the killer go there often? And can the explosion range reach the most optimal route? This spot is bad, because it's visible and the killer can easily M1 it. Compare it to here. From here, the killer can't see it. Let's say you put a trip mine here. It's good, right? The killer can't see it from inside. Well, it isn't, because why? Would the killer hug a wall so it doesn't reach the most optimal route and will most likely explode on its own? Let's say you put a trip mine here. For when the killer is here, then it's bad, because who even goes here during a chase? One of the best maps for Taph is Horror Hotel, because of the rooms that have a lot of patterns, white rooms and dark shadows. You can place tripwires in white rooms because it kind of blends in. You can kind of see it. The big room with a lot of patterns is amazing for Taph, because since the trip mines and wires are translucent, they are very hard to see against surfaces with a lot of patterns. Like this one. Here is what a trip mine looks like against a detailed surface. You can hardly see it even in the open. Here is what a tripwire looks like against a detailed surface. Same as the trip mine, you can hardly see it. Can you see it? Now this is a trip mine on a normal surface. You can see it from here. Here is a side-by-side comparison. One of my favorite tricks is the tripwire and trip mine combo. First, put an obvious tripwire. Then hide a trip mine behind it. The killer would see the tripwire and M1 it. But when they do, they are in range of the trip mine and it explodes. Unless the killer is slasher, the trip mine is inevitable because of the M1 cooldown. To be accurate when placing trip mines, try to estimate where it will land. This is pretty easy to get familiar with when playing Taph normally, just wanted to mention it. Similar to white and detailed surfaces, shadows are also good spots for wires and mines. Like here. You can't really see the tripwire, which is good. Last thing I want to mention, don't put your traps in one area, unless you want to make a Taph nest, so the killer is always surprised. And last thing, you can use the notifications of trip mines to know where the killer is, based off where you placed your last trip mine. Alright, bye bye.